any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
Al-Anon and
and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help. Over 50,000 police officers are assaulted on the job each year, leading to injuries and death. This is the reality they deal with when making contact with the public. Another reality is that if someone doesn't comply with a lawful order or uses force against them, police may have to use sufficient force in response to obtain compliance. Use of force is always ugly. Nobody likes it, especially police, and nobody knows how it will turn out. Spread the word. For de-escalation to work, both parties must de-escalate. And de-escalation isn't necessary if there is no escalation. Help police by not escalating. Don't attack or try to disarm an officer. Whether it's getting asked a question, getting a citation, or getting arrested, don't argue, don't resist, don't flee. After the encounter has been resolved is the time to address any complaints. Comply now, complain later. Keep everybody safe. This message brought to you by the National Police Association. To learn more about how to help law enforcement accomplish its goals, visit nationalpolice.org.
To find the complete list of prize contest rules for the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM, visit zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. A cattle company owned by the mayor of Bryan wants more than $250,000 from the pilot of a private plane that made an emergency landing last December where his cattle were located.
A lawyer representing Bobby Gutierrez and his cattle company issued a statement that the pilot had the option of making an emergency landing at Easterwood Airport. Instead, the pilot demonstrated what the attorney said was negligent conduct by landing the plane in a field with cowboys and cattle. The cowboy stopped to assist the pilot, which interrupted the collection of embryos from cattle that were artificially inseminated. That resulted in the cattle company losing more than $269,000. Bill Oliver, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
While the state legislature works on what changes might come to the electric grid, there's another proposal involving power that will specifically help BTU.
That's really trying to help us make sure that we can get service to the Rellis campus that we need to, the capacity to serve the Rellis campus.
BTU General Manager Gary Miller says House Bill 3070, introduced by Representative Kyle Cassell, would bring more electric capacity to the growing Rellis campus. A Bryan woman's 16th visit to the Brazos County Jail follows her arrest by Bryan police on using a stolen debit card to make 4 purchases. Online records show 30-year-old Sherelle Davis is also being held on a drug possession charge from last year. College Station police respond Wednesday morning just after 11 to the report of a man on top of a postal service truck in the Castle Rock neighborhood off Fitch near Arrington. According to the CSPD arrest report, the man ordered the postal worker to run him over. The man told the responding officer that he had ingested methamphetamine and marijuana. The officer then learned about a vehicle burglary in the same neighborhood and watched video taken by a witness that showed the man entering the vehicle and putting on sunglasses that were stolen. That led to the arrest of 42-year-old William Tisdale of Iola. For more news, go to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
First Financial Bank thanks the Brazos Valley for our continued success and growth. Come and celebrate the opening of our newest location at 2445 Harvey Mitchell Parkway in College Station. We're offering a special cash promotion for opening either a WOW checking account or a new savings account. Visit with our local banker at any of our locations for details. We have everything you need to manage your finances through our mobile app, online banking, and growing locations. Don't wait. Visit First Financial Bank today and experience how we put you first. Terms and conditions may apply. Approval required for all new accounts. First Financial Bank. Member FDIC.
We're here with Jackson Rollo from Rollo Insurance. And Jackson, you guys have been around for a long time. You're the very best at what you do. But I ask you, why Rollo Insurance?
Well, we've been growing recently with over 45 offices in multiple states. But we haven't lost who we are. We're still super focused on being hyper-local and involved in the communities in which you're going to find a Rollo Insurance office. And we offer products like home, auto, life, health, and business insurance from some of the top carriers in our industry.
You name it, they do it. Visit RolloInsurance.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Sean Burnett with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This update is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click hillcosupply.com. The A&M men's basketball season has come to an end. Playing in its first NCAA tournament since 2018, the team fell to Penn State last night in the first round, 76-59. Head coach Buzz Williams after the game.
I think we were completely stressed out in what they were doing offensively. We were not sharp. We were not sharp in our help on 22, nor our coverage on the weak side.
The guys wrapped up the season with a 25-10 record overall, 15-3 and second place finish in the SEC, and a runner-up finish in the SEC tournament. Aggie baseball will begin conference play this weekend with number 1 LSU coming to town. The guys bring an 8-game win streak into SEC play. The guys will stick with the same 3 starters, Nathan Detmer tonight, Troy Wansing tomorrow, and Chris Cortez on Sunday. First pitch versus LSU tonight is at 6 o'clock, and you can listen on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Aggie softball welcomes number 17 Georgia to town this weekend for a 3-game series. Game 1 kicks off tonight at 5 o'clock. You can listen to Aggie softball all season long on Gospel 97.3. Number 2 Texas A&M women's tennis hosts a pair of matches this weekend. Number 38 LSU will be in town today, and number 13 Miami on Sunday. And that's your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Sean Burnett.
You can hear the games of March on The Zone thanks to Westwood One Sports and Aggieland Green, Hungry Howie's, and Brazos Star Credit Union. From the opening round to the Final Four and the National Championship games, all of the NCAA tournament games, all weekend long, can be heard on The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, thanks to C&J Barbecue, Smokin' Aces competition team, and Gold Star Barber Studios on Longmire Drive.
If I'm going to do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
News team, assemble!
Howdy, Aggieland. Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it! I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
Now I'm distracted on my point. What were you talking about?
It's bull crap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him. Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs Radio. Right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Hey, hit records on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo? I do not stay at the Intercontinental. And anything I got is not a rental. I own that mom. Figured out the simple.
So, unfortunately, the 2 worst games of the year, pretty much, I would say, at least of 2023, have been the last 2 games Texas A&M has played. We're talking about Aggie Hoops, obviously. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, live from Des Moines, Iowa, here at our Rollo Insurance Studio in our hotel room for the last day, because we are going to come back at some point tonight. It is... Our show is presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, and we are here with Olin Buchanan as we start the Go Hour here on a Friday morning, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, my goodness, what we saw yesterday. Not predictable at all, but totally, like, afterwards, like, of course, this is what I go through in my Aggie sports life. This is, of course, what happened. A&M basketball played Penn State style of basketball, and they lost to a Penn State style of basketball team.
I did not recognize the style of play from A&M. I think you hit it right on the nail right on the head. I think A&M did play the game that Penn State wanted to play. It's like they wanted to be Penn State. That's like, it was almost like A&M was, the team was doing the "We Are Penn State" chant, because, hey, we're going to go out there and shoot 3-pointers all over the place, and we're not going to do the things that, quite frankly, are the reasons that they were here in Des Moines, Iowa anyway. They weren't attacking the rim. They weren't trying to draw fouls. Did not play good defense, but a lot of that was just because Penn State could really shoot, but they never really adjusted to what Penn State could do.
So I was kind of thinking to myself, And of course, after a game like that, you overreact mentally, like as a fan, right? I'm thinking to myself, A&M honestly has not played really good basketball in more than just 2 games because they played an excellent half against Arkansas.
Okay.
Second half. They didn't play a good first half.
All right.
I think they played an excellent half against Vanderbilt. I don't think they were great in the second half. They did enough to win. They had a huge lead. But I'm just saying over the last, how many games is that?
Four.
That's now 4 games. 5 games, right? 4, you're right. Sorry. Last 4 games, we haven't seen the best Texas A&M. We saw them the best that they played a half against Vandy. That was an amazing half. And obviously the comeback against Arkansas. But I'm saying there's been more bad these last 4 games than good, and it's because the stakes get higher.
Look, you're playing good teams, and good teams are going to have their moments when they're playing really well too. Arkansas is still playing. Vanderbilt, people are arguing that they should have been in the NCAA tournament. They look like they'll make a run probably in the NIT, if they're even in it. I didn't even look. I assume they are. And, Alabama's might be the number 1 team in the country, and then Penn State looked like the number 1 team in the country. And of all those games, the one that, again, is the biggest head scratcher to me was last night. I understand that that the game coming in, it was going to be a close game. I felt like it would be.
Yep.
I sure didn't, and I knew that there was the very, very real potential A&M could lose. I didn't think they would, and I sure didn't see them being completely dominated. But
I also didn't see them not playing their game at all.
That's what stunned me. And quite frankly, I thought coming into the game, the obvious thing you had to do defensively was put Dexter Dennis on Jalen Pickett the whole game, and except when he's getting a quick rest. And they didn't do that. And Jalen Pickett had a little bit of trouble with Dexter Dennis because Dexter is a big, strong guy, and Jalen Pickett wants to back you down. And they were switching on him, and you'd see Wade Taylor, Andre Gordon, even Boots Radford, and sometimes Hayden Hefner, and the guy was just too strong for them. And the first 2 or 3 times he backed one of those guys down and either got a short shot that he made or dished it out, somebody kicked it out. They should have said, look, it was obvious. You can't do that. You cannot put somebody else on him. He's too strong. What they should have been doing, I thought, was put Dexter on him when Dexter needed some time off. Then you rotate Manny Obaseki on him.
Yep.
Or even Solomon Washington. But Wade's just not big enough to handle that guy. Andre Gordon's not big enough to handle that guy. And it shows. I thought their defensive scheme was extremely flawed.
So I remember, I think it was during Wednesday's show that I told you, I started doing the research on this team. I'm like, the things that they do is opposite of what A&M, like they don't foul. A&M lives on the foul line. A&M forces you to turn the ball over. They don't turn the ball over. A&M gives up a lot of threes. They hit a lot of threes. Those are the reasons I started getting worried about this game. But of course, in my mind, I was like, all right, but they'll counter it. They'll find a way to counter it. Yet they didn't counter it. And I don't mean this to be rude, but is A&M a good three-point shooting team?
They're streaky. Sometimes they're good, but if you look over the entirety of the season, they're very erratic from the three-point line.
Right.
Going into the game at three-point percentage, team percentage, A&M ranked 251st in the nation.
Right.
And Penn State is 13th. And A&M looked like they were trying to get into a game of horse with them.
Yeah, and especially in the second half. The first half, I thought they shot way too many threes. Right, and that was the first half. Then they upped it.
Well, they had to.
But see, I disagree that they had to. Not disagreeing with you. I don't think they had to, because I think in basketball, 16-point game may feel insurmountable. You get it to 10 with 10 minutes left. You get it to that's 3 possessions.
Maybe they felt like that.
Yes, and the players admitted that in the locker room. We felt like we had to hit these 3. But to me, it's not an efficient shot if you're not
good at it.
And I didn't mind as much Wade taking the threes, because I think Wade's a good 3-point shooter.
He's a streaky 3-point shooter.
But he's streaky. But it just became the offense. Like it became obvious. Like Anderson Garcia would get a rebound, he'd have a chance to take it back up, and pitch it back out.
You're right, and that had about 3 times in a row. It seemed like. Again, I thought A&M would try to exploit what I thought would be just a advantage in athleticism. I thought because Penn State doesn't have a big time shot blocker, I thought A&M would be doing everything they could to try to attack the basket like they've always done, and see if they can get to the line and make layups in the first half. And we keep focusing on the first half because essentially this game was over at halftime.
When there was a couple moments where I'm like, all right, they can make this a game in the first half. The second half, didn't they start it off with an alley-oop? The very first play
first, and then A&M came back, scored a couple times. I think A&M cut it to 15, but they were down 16 and a half, 18 and a half. And the way Penn State could shoot, it just felt like, okay, at least to me, this issue is settled at halftime. And so I thought that's why I'm focusing so much on what they did at the half. And when you're shooting more 3-pointers and not trying to get to the basket at halftime, again, A&M had attempted 1 layup and 1 dunk. They missed them both.
Well, by the way, when a kid hits 8 3-pointers, you're probably not winning that game. I mean, you might, but they just did everything right. And for the life of me, I just don't understand why they did not continue going to Julius Marble.
That is a great question,
because the first 6 of 10 points, whatever it was, he got the ball 3 early times and he scored.
Yeah, I think he scored 3 of the Aggies' first 4 baskets. He had a layup and 2 jump hooks, and he missed one. It's like, oh, well, he missed, so we got to do something else.
They had nobody who could stop him.
I don't think consistently, no.
No.
But again, A&M shot 5 free throws in the first half.
The Penn State recipe.
Penn State seduced A&M into playing the game they wanted to play, and A&M went right along with it.
Yeah, they did. If you want to be a part of today's conversation, we've got somebody at the News and Social Center, so we can actually read your text messages with a little more clarity. You can do that by texting us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. A&B, a College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank, Good Texas Banking. The website is anb.com. Well, I've got lots to get into. By the way, spring football starts Monday?
The 20th, right?
Yeah, whatever that day, 20th. I think it's Monday. I don't know.
That'll be Monday. That's right. I got to go put on something green.
St.
Patty's Day.
Don't worry. We got
stay the night.
Maybe it could just be the envy I have for all the teams that are still playing.
Nick, what did you say, young man?
I was going to say, we have I think you can see it, David, on your screen there. We got the graphics taken care of. It's green. The studio, we got green graphics and all that stuff. Also, Kennedy is not at the social center right now. I know you can't see that, but she will be later on. Yeah, yesterday, not really fun. I kind of agree with you, OB. I think the Aggies had to start taking more 3-point shots, not only because they were trailing by a lot, but they just had to answer what Funk was doing. I mean, he was hitting everything he was throwing up, and it just seemed like when they got on the other end, they had to shoot one just to claw back and answer what he was hitting.
I think that's what they thought.
Yeah, I don't think that. But yes, I understand the thinking behind it.
With Funk, what I don't get, here's what I understand: A&M has a defensive philosophy and a defensive scheme. But when this guy starts hitting 25 feet and further out threes, and showing that it's not a fluke,
yep.
At some point, I think you just put a guy and say, you stay on him. We're not going to try to rotate. You stay on him. We're going to have to go man to man, and you stay on him, because if this guy has just a little bit of room, he's going to make the 3.
Yeah.
And I don't. It seemed to me that they didn't. That they really didn't adjust their defense to what Penn State could do.
Look at this. They committed 11 fouls. They scored 74 points. Okay. They committed 11 fouls. They only had 8 turnovers. And A&M on the other side committed 15 fouls to their 10 turnovers, to their 2 blocks, but they shot 32 threes according to ESPN stats, 28% from the three. By the way, Penn State only hit 59% of their threes. I say only because when the game was already decided, they were at 74% of their threes.
Well, according to the official stats released by
NCAA.
Yeah, the NCAA, A&M shot 34 threes.
Yep.
They were 10 of 34. And the thing is, that doesn't seem too bad, 10 of 34. But a lot of those were late when the game was really over.
By the way, we got to hit a break here, but I do want to say that the 2 transfers brought it. The newest transfers, Julius Marble and Dexter Dennis.
Yes, they did.
They brought it. Dexter did. I mean, I'm not saying everybody tried their best. This has nothing to do with that. But those 2 guys, you could tell that they have played at high-level games before, and they brought it.
They did.
Let's hit a break. We'll come back with some of those text messages. Let me give you guys a little programming update. So at 8:35, Hop's going to join us. I have not done radio with Hop. Looking forward to that. That'll be at 8:35. At 9:05, the Baseball Roundtable. Our baseball bunch will be in the house. Bronny, Zane, and Clendenin. And then at 9:30, Logan Lee will join us. 10:05, Mark French. And then 10:20, Billy Lucci. So that's what we have on the agenda. Right now, we're talking about the Association of Former Students who have been around for over 140 years, and your financial gifts have empowered them to help out Aggies all over the place. And that is what their mission is to help Aggies everywhere. They do it so well, and they love giving back to this community, and they do it through so many different ways, with the traveling Aggies, with tailgating, with muster, with class reunions, rain days, silver taps, Aggie bands, silver taps, I already said, and student assistance programs. So they've done so many different things. They love to do it, and you are the reason that they do what they do. So they highly encourage you to check out IamTheWhy.com. There's a website with a collection of stories about Aggies, from Aggies, about Aggies, and you can upload your story as well. So you can see the Aggie Network at its best and tell your story about your time at A&M and beyond. The website is IamTheWhy.com. Again, the website, IamTheWhy.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. First Presbyterian Bryan is hosting the world-renowned Baylor A Cappella Choir for a free concert this Sunday at 3 p.m. The Brethren Church of Bryan College Station invites you to the 3rd annual 42 Dominoes Tournament and Raffle Fundraiser, Saturday, April 29th. Sign-up starts at 8 a.m. The tournament starts at 10. Register now for the Bike MS Texas MS 150. Cyclists will depart from Houston or Austin on April 29th and cross the finish line in College Station on April 30th. Find more information at bikems.org. The Mental Health First Aid Program teaches participants how to recognize the signs and symptoms of a possible mental health challenge or substance misuse, de-escalate situations, listen non-judgmentally, and connect people to resources. This free course is offered each month at the Brazos County Health District. Listen in to the Louis Bellina Show weekdays 11 to 2 to win your tickets to see Bill Burr at Reed Arena. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
When you need full court savings and an all-star selection, you've got to get to Specs Wines, Spirits, and Finer Foods. Because when the sneakers start squeaking, you don't want to be sitting on the bench. Fill your bracket and satisfy your cravings with a stadium-sized selection of craft kegs, seltzers, and gourmet snacks for game days. When you're getting ready for some March basketball, we're ready to get you ready. 'Cause at Specs, the fun starts here.
It's back and better than ever. Chili Fest 2023, presented by Miller Lite, is headed to Snook, Texas, March 31st and April 1st for 2 days of live music and the kind of fun you can only have in Aggie Land. This year with Saturday performances by The Weathered Souls, Jacob Stelly, Colton Moore and The Clever Few, Shane Smith and the Saints, and headliner Whiskey Myers. Friday performances by Tyler Halverson, Carson Jeffrey, Giovanni and the Hired Guns, Muscadine Bloodline, and headliner Jamie Johnson. Get your tickets online now at chilifest.org, plus camping, team information, and more. Chili Fest 2023, presented by Miller Lite. Miller Brewing Company. Great beer, great responsibility. 21 means 21.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show. Hey, Paul, you're just up the road about a couple hours. I should grab Kenny Payne and come down and visit. He's got nothing to do now.
Yeah, by the way, I am close to Louisville. I've already been offered that job because anyone can win 4 games. That's still hard for me to believe.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top.
And we're back. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner Shoulders in the Wallow Insurance Studio in Des Moines, Iowa. It is the Go Hour presented by the warehouse at CC Creations. People were saying that I was adding the S to Des Moines. I thought I fixed it midway.
Were you?
I don't know.
Well, good thing it's not in Illinois. You could have been
Illinois. Illinois. Des Money. We're in Des Money.
Des Money.
Yeah, what money for Penn State?
Nothing.
By the way, I found Texas yesterday to be very beatable. They're good, but they were I found them to be very beatable. I thought I was actually kind of impressed with Colgate, even though they got the doors blown off of them. It was a close game for them. Not close game. They were within striking distance. They'd make a run, and as soon as they'd make this run, Texas would hit 2 threes.
Yeah, it was like it struck me that Texas might have got a big lead and say, okay, I'm going to take the foot off the gas a little bit, and then we got to put our foot back on the gas.
Hey, and also I want to correct some people out there on Twitter and on our boards, to be honest with you, that think the players were too focused on the 7 seed and
the players were never involved in that.
Do you know who was focused on that? We, like fans, media, and
Buzz talked about it.
Sure, yeah, but I don't think it was. You see, the players and Buzz talked about it because he was asked about it.
Buzz also wanted to be asked about it.
Well, there's that too. But I mean, it didn't affect the players. This to me was a team that was better than you on that night, and they were schematically, it didn't match what A&M was trying to do. And I don't even know what they were trying to do to this point, but what they were trying to do did not match and did not stop what Penn State. Penn State did what they wanted to do, not what A&M wanted to do.
And I just don't think, I think it comes. Maybe A&M would have lost anyway, but I just don't think A&M adjusted.
No.
Again, I think they would have been. To me, you put Dexter Dennis or you double team Pickett. But I think you'd been fine with Dexter Dennis. And when Dexter needs to rest, you bring in Obaski, somebody who's strong. You needed somebody strong that could keep him from backing in. And then somebody should have been out on Funk all the time and say, yeah, I know what we do defensively. This is how we're not going to do that. We're going to put Boots out on Funk all the time.
Yeah.
You're going to be with him. And because you had to do something, because what you were doing just clearly wasn't working. They were able to, completely exploit what you were trying to do. And I don't think A&M adjusted to what they were doing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Let's go to Buzz last night, who broke it down. I believe your first question of the entire evening. He gave his thoughts on what went wrong in last night's loss there to Penn State.
A little bit of both. I think we were completely stressed out in what they were doing offensively. And we were not sharp. We were not sharp in our help on 22, nor our coverage on the weak side. We made some changes at half. At times it was okay. They are a good defensive team in regards to not fouling, not allowing you to get to the paint. But I think the problem tonight, as much as we could have been better offensively, we played with too high of a turnover rate. But our problem was defensively.
I think they froze up, so we'll go ahead and just hold on right here while they figure that out. We can go to the News and Social Center, though. We got a little bit of a pick-me-up there. We got Kennedy Cabin back from spring break. Kennedy, what's going on?
Hey, good morning. If you can't tell, I was not fully prepared for this, but here we are.
Well, yeah. What do you mean can't tell? You weren't fully prepared.
I have my glasses on. I usually don't wear glasses on air, but that's okay. That's okay.
I gotcha. Well, do we have any text messages or anything like that to get into?
Oh, yes. We have a lot of text messages rolling in, and we have since, I think, the game last night.
Yeah, I saw we had one at like 11:50 p.m. But that was like really negative. So if we want, we can skip that one.
we're not gonna read that one out because we want to be positive as it can get after last night. But Bosis from Katie said, "Morning, guys. It was hard to watch last night. It was really disappointing to see our team played that way and going out that way. This team is very good. We need to add a shooter to this roster, and we could be good. Buzz needs to recruit 3-point shooters."
Yeah, that's something I was thinking too. I was halfway thinking like, man, what if that Funk guy hits the transfer portal? We need to recruit him hard because he was not missing anything he was putting up there. But I mean, he's not wrong. They're returning a lot of the production, and as I'm letting David back in here 1 second, but I mean, they're returning a lot of production, and I think if they can get that shooter that Bosis was talking about, they'll be shaped up pretty good. David, you got us?
Connection is like A&M trying to shoot threes last night. That's what's happening. And
it's hit and miss.
Yeah. And I'm not a fan of it. You know what? We just got to get back to the great city of College Station. Is Kennedy Cabin there at the News and Social Center?
She is.
Hey,
is
David.
She reading Hi, Miss Spring Break. How are you?
I'm good. I was not a spring breaker like our best friend Kay Nagley was. She did the actual spring break. I went and just hung out with some friends in Lubbock.
Well, that sounds like spring break to me.
Okay.
You may be the first college student in my life that I've heard say they spent spring break in Lubbock.
I had a good time. It was one of my first experiences in Lubbock, and it was not A&M, but I'm grateful for A&M now.
Well, Miss Cabin, if you don't mind, please read us a couple text messages before we hit a break.
So I just read off one to Nick, but he was kind of getting into Funk, and I'm sure that that's a hot topic. So somebody piped in and said Funk was 0-5 in his previous game and then goes 8-10, many from far out.
Yeah, that dude, you could have had 9 people on him the way he was shooting. It was pretty nice. I mean, I hated it.
I would have settled for one.
Yeah. I would have settled for one in his face, hands up in the air. Let's do this. Let's hit a break. When we come back, David Sandhop's going to be joining us, and we'll get his thoughts on everything basketball related from last night. And at some point, we'll try to mix in some spring football preview talk. Right now, we're talking Fargo's Pit Barbecue, 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. They are closed on Sundays. They are closed on Mondays. You should call them up at 979-778-3662. That is their phone number. It's one of the top 50 barbecue joints in the world, according to the Texas Monthly. But according to Olin Buchanan, one of the top in the world. Just number 1, 2, or 3. It's okay, OB. You can text. I'll speak for you.
It's all right. If you're number 1 in Texas in barbecue, then you're number 1 in the world.
That's exactly what they are. And today is a Friday. So the specials on a Friday is the fish, the corn, the coleslaw, the hush puppies. Again, I am not team coleslaw, but many of you are, and that's the place to go for your coleslaw. Saturdays, they got the beef ribs, and on Wednesdays as well. Rib tips, if you like that as well. It's so good. Fargo's has been a part of this community for about 22 years. They can take care of you for office parties, football weekends, basketball weekends, you name it. Baseball weekends coming up here. Make sure you think about them when you need some catering. It is 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Without a doubt, the best barbecue in town. That's their trademark because it's true. It is Fargo's.
We are going. Are you ready? The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Where defeat isn't bitter if you don't swallow it.
It's time.
Here we go!
Let's go!
Dive in for a fantastic spring break at Moody Gardens. Explore fact and fiction at the new Sharks and Death exhibit. Come face to face with real sharks, penguins, seals, and more at the Aquarium Pyramid. Check out the strangest and most spectacular in Secrets of the Sea 3D and Shark 4D. Enjoy an afternoon cruise, island golf at one of the top public golf courses in Texas, or relax poolside at the beautiful Moody Gardens Hotel. Save with a value pass in Moody Gardens Hotel and golf packages. Online always, the best deals are at moodygardens.org.
Okay, local business owners, do you get calls from multiple digital marketing firms trying to sell you the latest quick fix? You know you want to grow your online presence, but you don't know where to start. And trusting a partner, well, that can be a challenge. The solution is Bryan Broadcasting Digital Solutions. The same care in which we deliver our radio contents to you is the same care you receive with our digital marketing services. Let us simplify the digital marketing space for you. Go to bryanbroadcasting.com and click Digital Solutions.
When you're looking for a good time in Texas, Specs has everything you need to make it great. Specs has lower prices on Texas's largest selection of world-class wines, hard-to-find spirits, ice-cold craft beers, and seasonal seltzers. And with Specs same-day delivery, the good times keep coming. Just order online or through the app, and we'll be there in a snap. For good times done right, it's Specs. The fun starts here.
Spring is in full swing at Big Shots Golf. Come play at Big Shots Golf for only $10 a person during the week. That's right, only $10 a person per hour, and players 5 and 6 are free. Tee it up in our climate-controlled tee boxes with virtual golf games and next-level menu items. The fun continues with our popular trivia nights, karaoke nights, and more. So get your game on, and we'll see you at Big Shots Golf Aggie Land. Visit BigShotsGolf.com for more info.
Maroon U is your ultimate stop for brand name apparel, gifts, and accessories for the entire family. From Columbia, 47 brand, Yeti, Dooney & Burke, and Adidas, we're able to outfit you for every occasion. Visit Maroon U and our family of companies on Holloman Drive in College Station to shop the latest in brand name Aggie merchandise. Shop Maroon U today, voted best in the Brazos' best gift shop since 2016. Maroon never looked so good with Maroon U.
The Zone and the Louis Bellina Show want to send you to all the places you want to be. Go see Bill Burr at Reed Arena, the PBR Pendleton Whiskey Velocity Tour at Reed Arena. We send one lucky winner to go see the Turnpike Troubadours at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and we've got your tickets to go see Chili Fest. Listen in to win. Listen in to the Louis Bellina Show, presented by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service.
Like I said yesterday, they're pretty comfortable with what they do. I think that showed tonight. I think they just took advantage of us in a lot of situations, had us rotating a lot pretty much the whole game. So that was pretty much it.
And that was pretty much it. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio of our hotel room in Des Moines, Iowa. It is presented to you, the go hour is by the warehouse at CC Creations. And we'll continue looking at your text messages on the AMB text line. David Sandhop with us here, who took in the game last night. Hop, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's the first time we've done radio together, man.
Hey, usually I'm the community guy, but I'm pressed into duty today. But I tell you what, you're talking about spring break before. It's 19 degrees outside. I was scraping ice off the rental car to get here. I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this on March 17th or 18th. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So I'd like to get your thoughts on. So we're going back and forth about the brand of basketball that Penn State, I think, forced A&M to play, or they didn't adjust to. What was your take on how Penn State attacked A&M and their lack of adjustment?
Well, I think that the team, and certainly me looking at this game, way underestimated the physicality of Pickett. You had heard, he posts up and it's to get other guys open. I mean, what he did physically got into our heads. I mean, and he was backing down. We would keep trying to bring somebody over to trap and slow down, and then that would either funk open on the wing, or what was that, Lundy over on the baseline, and it felt like that we were just going uphill the whole time. I think mentally that just got into their heads, and I think that bled over to the offense, and where you saw some of I think they panicked a little bit and took some shots they shouldn't have taken.
Yeah, again, he did just what you said, and maybe it caught him by surprise. I don't know why it would surprise you, but you've got to acknowledge, look, hey, this isn't working, what we're doing, so we can continue to do it, and he can continue to back you down, or we can make some kind of adjustment. I just don't know that they did. And as good as he is and as physical as he is, the fact of the matter is that even in their hot streak of winning, either their last 10 coming into this 10, 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 coming in.
And it looks like we're having some technical difficulties again. We'll try to get them back here in a second, but while we wait for them to rejoin, we'll go ahead and read a couple text messages from y'all. Again, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Producer Nick Savage here. Some technical difficulties with David and the boys up in Des Moines. But we'll go ahead and read some text messages. Not that one, though. We'll go ahead with this one. Disappointed, but we went away from our strength inside early because I think we panicked. We allowed 22 to do what he does. 10 hit 8 out of 8 threes while it mattered, and we fouled him on a 9th. That's going to be tough even if you play well. So, yeah, I mean, it's rough there. Again, what the guys were just saying, they're just playing their brand of basketball and kind of forced A&M to do what they don't normally do, and they, it was pretty obvious they were a little uncomfortable with it. Kennedy, are you in the social center? You got me? Got me? All right, cool. Hi.
I'm back.
Would you like to help me read some text messages?
Yes, I'm currently pulling it up really quick.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you a second, but we're having some
the technical difficulties are sure not fun today.
They are not.
Not fun at all.
I'm sure they are excited to get back to the friendly confines of College Station, Texas.
I know, but it's just as cold here as it is. Well, maybe not as it is up there, but it's still pretty cold here and rainy.
Ronnie's going to come in the studio and help us as well. But
okay, so we have somebody coming in saying, sad that our boys fell yesterday, but proud of them for the SEC run. Do you guys think there's an issue with Aggie coaches preparing our farmers for the bright lights of the big games? Men's basketball looked like they were shell-shocked from the time the broadcast started last night.
No, I don't agree with that. I just think it was more so as they got punched in the mouth, they didn't know how to react back. I don't think they were shell-shocked or afraid of the big stage or anything like that. But, yeah, it was just a little tough to see. But Kennedy, got any more?
Yes, Tayag and Taylor said, disappointed, but we went away from our strength inside early because I think we panicked. We allowed 22 to do what he does. 10 hit 8 of 8 threes while it mattered, and we fouled him on a 9th. That's going to be tough even if you play well.
Yeah, absolutely. Bronny, are you mic'd up, ready to roll?
Yeah, I'm on.
Awesome. Yeah, you are.
I'm glad I came in early.
Yeah.
I wonder if what they're dealing with. I wonder if I was never really good at that in my day, funny enough. I wonder if what they're dealing with in Des Moines has to do with the weather.
I don't know, maybe.
Or it could be just shoddy Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
It's funny how emotional fan bases get when one team loses. And you check the message board right now, Nick, and it's full of people that are making overall commentaries on the state of the athletic department based off of one game, and how the text that Kennedy just read said something. What was it, Kennedy? Like, we always melt in the bright lights?
Yeah, and that's across all sports, but, we're talking about men's basketball here.
Right,
too.
but, do people forget that just last summer the baseball team was in the Final Four? I don't know. I just find it hard to make overarching commentary on an entire athletic department after one performance. And look, that's a tough one to swallow. I think A&M played extremely poorly, but I also think Penn State played out of their mind good. And so you have to tip your hat to Penn State while also being frustrated by last night's performance. Not by this team or whatever, but when you go back and you look at this 2023 basketball season, that's going to be such a hard pill to swallow, Nick, because there was so much on the table, and this team had played so well at such a high level for so long. Really, since Christmas, they've been playing at an elite top 10, top 12 program in the country style of basketball, and to see it kind of come crashing down in back-to-back performances in the SEC title game and then in the first round of the tournament, that's the toughest pill to swallow, because every metric, every time that we looked at this thing, we thought, hey, this team can make a little run here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Maybe it's just a case of, a team getting hot and, eventually they got to cool down in some way or another. We see that a lot in baseball and stuff, and we're working on getting David and the boys back here. I'm getting them up. Just give me 1 second, y'all, and we'll turn it back over to David, Hop, and Olin, and let me make sure we got them here.
I'll stay here just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, can y'all hear us?
Hey, we can hear you.
Awesome.
Okay, I just missed another 3-point shot. That's exactly what happened. Hop was in the middle of an amazing thought, and it was interesting. I was going to let him keep going and not let him know that we were not on air. I was like, I can't do that to him the first time he's here. All right, you were saying, Hop, I'm sorry.
Just you had mentioned about the non-conference 6-6 record, and I think one thing that going forward that the Buzz and the staff really needs to evaluate is, that off season and that early portion of the fall. And you hear Buzz all the time say, "Hey, look, we don't do a lot of basketball early because we're doing the team building and the culture, which is valuable. But at some point, you've got to get to a point to where you're playing better basketball in November and December. So you're not complaining about being the 7th seed, playing a very good Penn State team. You're playing a Colgate, or if A&M wins that Wofford in Murray State game, what, they're at least a 4 seed, at least."
Yeah.
Yeah, but
they didn't.
But they didn't, and quite frankly, you were still seated higher than a team that, had gone into overtime with some very average Big Ten teams that got beat by SEC teams that A&M beat yesterday. All those kind of things. You had to, yes, and next year, because you have almost, I think, everybody probably coming back except Dexter, you probably don't have to, if you don't want to, spend as much time team building and more time on basketball. So yes, you got to, but you were still the 7 seed against a 10 seed and you got blown out. So I say, well, you should have had an easier matchup. Yeah.
But you lost the game you had
still had what should have been a favorable matchup.
Should have been. You played like the 10 seed.
Oh, I don't think you played that well. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Well, we do have to remember is that Penn State was a very good team the last month of the season. I mean, they were 1 basket away from beating Purdue for the Big Ten championship. So while I certainly agree with you, Olin, is that yes, they should have won the game. They were the higher seed and what have you. Still, Penn State was a very good team.
No doubt about that. But you're saying the Purdue game. But I'm saying look at all their games in the 10-game run, and there's overtime games. There's games they beat Ohio State, I think, by 4 points. They're terrible. There's a lot of their games were very competitive. This one wasn't a game. This was a complete and total beatdown.
Yeah, you're right.
And so, and I just don't think you look at that and say, well, if we had been a 4 seed, we would have had an easier opponent. Well, yeah, maybe, but but the fact is that was your team, and you were seated higher than them, and you just came out and I can't say what I'm thinking. You just came out and just got thoroughly dominated.
Well, one of the things that impressed me about Penn State was they saw mismatches and they took it to A&M. So if Wade somehow ended up on Pickett, what was he going to do? He was going to take him down the paint every time. I believe that A&M had some mismatches they could have exposed as well, but then they fell in that huge hole, and then it became what it became.
There's no question they panicked. There's no question that mentally, that when they got down double digits, that they did things that they normally don't do. No question.
When we come back, we're going to do bank on it, and I don't know what to bank on. Something baseball related, I assume, but we'll do some bank on it. But also, we have to give a little bit of positivity to the season when we look at it from a step away from the challenges that they faced early on to the ride that they took us through SEC play. So we'll get into that. Right now, we're talking Milliken Reserve, a farm-to-table community in College Station. Homes, trails, and wide open spaces. That's what they have there, and they want to build a healthy community around nature. They are dedicated to the conservation of a healthy community, and they have respect for the native landscape and wildlife out there with 2,600 acres of open space, 30 miles of trails, and homes. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape, and it is just a beautiful place to go enjoy. Connect with your family while connecting with nature at the same time. It is a wonderful place to live, but also just to go out there and go hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails out there, evening yoga, the summer camps, the music festivals, the farmer market tours, and of course the farm tours. Wonderful place to go check out. The website is millikenreserve.com. Again, millikenreserve.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Paisano's Italian Pizzeria. Go see them at their new location on Highway 6 in Rock Prairie by Scott and White. Always fresh, never frozen. Paisano's Italian Pizzeria. The 29th annual You're the Tops Luncheon, benefiting the prenatal clinic, is Saturday, April 22nd at the Hilton. Purchase your tickets online at bcsprenatal.org. Now open at the Bush Library, Mandela, the official exhibition. The epic story of Nelson Mandela is told in a series of experiential galleries. You're invited to the opening ceremony of the Wall That Heals traveling exhibit, Thursday, April 27th at 11 a.m. at Veterans Park. Visit twthaggieland.com for more information. The Museum of the American GI is hosting the U.S. Army Camel Experiment on April 28th and 29th. Space is limited. Reserve your place today at AmericanGIMuseum.org. Community Calendar is brought to you by Paisano's Italian Pizzeria. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Phoenix Knives invites you to come to the largest custom knife show in Texas. April 1st and 2nd, the Texas Select event brings you Forged and Fire Judge Jay Nielsen and top knife makers from across the nation. Come see live forging demonstrations, chopping competitions, and the Battleship Texas anti-aircraft gun. All this and more at the Austin County Fairgrounds in Belleville. Tickets are $10 at the door with free parking. Sponsored in part by Jet Supply, Ballistic Dummy, Texas Knife Makers Guild, and Phoenix Knives. For more info, visit TexasSelectEvent.com.
It's back and better than ever. Chili Fest 2023, presented by Miller Lite, is headed to Snook, Texas, March 31st and April 1st for 2 days of live music and the kind of fun you can only have in Aggie Land. This year with Saturday performances by The Weathered Souls, Jacob Stelly, Colton Moore and The Clever Few, Shane Smith and the Saints, and headliner Whiskey Myers. Friday performances by Tyler Halverson, Carson Jeffrey, Giovanni and the Hired Guns, Muscadine Bloodline, and headliner Jamie Johnson. Get your tickets online now at chilifest.org, plus camping, team information, and more. Chili Fest 2023, presented by Miller Lite. Miller Brewing Company. Great beer, great responsibility. 21 means 21.
You can hear the games of March on the Zone thanks to Westwood One Sports and Aggieland Green, Hungry Howie's, and Brazos Star Credit Union. From the opening round to the Final Four and the National Championship games, all of the NCAA tournament games, all weekend long, can be heard on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, thanks to C&J Barbecue, Smokin' Aces Competition Team, and Gold Star Barber Studios on Longmire Drive.
Welcome back. Last segment of the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Hop is with us. OB is with us, and I am David Nuño. All right, gentlemen, it is now time to bank on it. Bank on It is presented by Vera Bank, authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. Hop, have you ever banked on it?
No, I haven't, but I'll bank.
All right, you'll have to bank on something, typically Aggie related, but it can be whatever you want. OB, I'll let you start.
Well, actually, I'm working off of something Hop said. I think you can bank on this time next year, A&M being back in the NCAA tournament, but playing a higher seed, because as bad as it feels right now, the fact of the matter is they were a good team and almost everybody's coming back. They're going to learn from this. Buzz is going to learn from this. And I'm banking on them coming back and being in the tournament next year. And like I said, with a much higher seed.
Okay. Hop, what do you want to bank on?
Well, that was going to be my bank, but
you can bank, just give some different reasons.
I just love to bank, man. I'm going to bank on the fact that I've seen Buzz in this transfer portal era be pretty successful. Dexter Dennis, Julius Marble, some of those guys, and Tyrese Radford. I'm banking on the fact they're going to go out And they, like you said, they have a lot of people coming back and a good core. I think they're going to add a little frosting to that cake, and they're going to get a couple good transfers. I think this is going to be a pretty good team next year.
Yeah. I think we can all bank on that. I'm going to bank on Nathan Detmer giving the Aggie baseball team a chance. He's going to go long enough and good enough in this game to allow tonight's game against LSU to allow the A&M bats to give him a chance. I know that what LSU's got on the mound is a different level of animal, but it just give you a chance, get into the late innings, and you never know.
Hey, it's an Olsen Field.
Yep.
There's magic going on there.
There is magic going on there. Any thoughts heading into Monday? We'll be kind of starting our adjustment, OB, to spring football.
Yeah, the thing is, spring football, we don't get to see anything, right? It's except stretching, and we have to go by what we're told. But if we were really in there, I just think it's the whole story of the spring is what's going to be the adjustment? What are going to be the signs of differences we're going to see with Bobby Petrino in charge of the offense?
Yeah. I think with spring practice, because I do the practice reports for TexAgs, is that you're not going to get anything meaningful scheme wise or competitive. What I do, you go out there and you look at bodies. You look, okay, you got, especially now, you have a lot of newcomers coming in for the first time that you haven't seen, and do they pass the eyeball test? Because so many times I'd go out there and these heralded recruits, and you look and go, man, that guy's just not as big or as strong as advertised. So I usually go to see the newcomers and then the veterans. How do they look coming out of the offseason? Do they look good physically? Do they move well?
Put on some muscle.
Watch the offensive linemen and their drill work, how they move their feet. But as far as schemes, I mean, especially with Bobby Petrino, we have no idea what to expect out there.
Yeah, look, we're not gonna be able to see much, but I'd like to see how vocal Bobby is and how vocal Jimbo is, right? Like, if a quarterback makes a mistake, is Jimbo the first one to get up on there like we've seen in the past? Or is Bobby kind of re-explaining things? I'm interested to seeing that relationship, whatever we can see.
Actually, are we going to see it?
Are we going to see anything, right?
Because we don't get to see anything. So it's hard for me as a reporter to report on things that I don't get to see with my own eyes. And this is where everywhere in college football, not just A&M, but now it's like you don't get to go to practices, so you have to go by what the coach is telling you, and then you find out later whether or not they were being really truthful with you or not.
Sure.
I'll just say this, OB, is that back in the days of Mike Sherman, he let reporters be there all the time, and we'd get up there at 5 a.m. He'd have those 5 a.m. workouts, and we'd look at the other reporters and go, hey, guys, can we all agree we're not going to do the 5 a.m. workout? I'm
not saying I want to be there. I'm just saying I can't report on things that I personally don't see.
Well, look, there is that, right? Like, don't invite me, but don't expect me to be reporting on something I don't see.
I covered the Longhorns for a couple of years when Mac Brown was the coach, and practices were open to the media. So, of course, I was there at every one. I was thinking, okay, everybody's in the same spot. Nobody got hurt. Now what? because they're not changing anything at that point. It would be more interesting with the dynamic that's going on this year, this starting this spring with the Bobby Petrino, because that's going to be one of the bigger stories in the whole SEC. And if A&M breaks out of that offensive doldrums from last year, it'll be one of the bigger stories in the nation.
Did you guys see? I saw it. I think I was here in Des Moines, that the Big 12 is going to start doing their own little pro day as a conference.
I did not hear.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a tweet about that. I think that's interesting. In the draft, by the way, in the last minute we have, who's going in the first round? Is any Aggie going in the first round? Do you think Antonio Johnson gets in there?
Yes,
there's a chance. Yeah, there's a chance.
I think Antonio does, and I'm still not convinced that at the very end of the first round that I still think there's a good chance that A-Chain will go.
Yeah,
very end of the first round.
We'll see. I mean, he's certainly talented enough to be first rounder. It's just the stock of running backs in the NFL just keeps going down and down and down.
The team from Missouri, the Missouri City takes the kid from Missouri City.
Hey, That's what you want to believe.
I just want to write that.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
OB, great work this week, man. Thank you. All right. When we come back on TexAgs Radio, the baseball bunch, we'll have Bronny, we'll have Clendenin, we'll have Richard Zane. We'll get to your text messages on the A&B text line. Oh, and we'll have, I think at some point, Kay Nagley with Around Agland. That and much, much more. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Would you like to win a pair of tickets to Chili Fest? The Zone has locations all across town. You stop by, scan the QR code, you're entered. It's just that easy. You can stop by Twin Peaks, eat, drinks, scenic views. You can stop by Uptown Cheapskate, College Station, sustainable, upscale fashion, trendy, designer, and vintage fashion without the mall prices. For a complete list of locations, go to zone1150.com.
Join me to rally to read 100 books.
Reading is Fundamental invites you to visit rallytoread.org today to learn about our reading campaign. Join the pledge to read 100 books. Hear your child's favorite authors read their books and find activities to keep young readers motivated. Teachers can also enter the Rally to Read sweepstakes for a chance to win 100 books for their own school, subject to rules. Visit rallytoread.org today.
Rally to read!
Your home for Aggie baseball, Aggie basketball, and Aggie football is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, plus online at RadioAggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. A cattle company owned by the mayor of Bryan wants more than $250,000 from the pilot of a private plane that made an emergency landing last December where his cattle were located.
A lawyer representing Bobby Gutierrez and his cattle company issued a statement that the pilot had the option of making an emergency landing at Eastwood Airport. Instead, the pilot demonstrated what the attorney said was negligent conduct by landing the plane in a field with cowboys and cattle. The cowboy stopped to assist the pilot, which interrupted the collection of embryos from cattle that were artificially inseminated. That resulted in the cattle company losing more than $269,000. Bill Oliver, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
While the state legislature works on what changes might come to the electric grid, there's another proposal involving power that will specifically help BTU.
That's really trying to help us make sure that we can get service to the Rellis campus that we need to, the capacity to serve the Rellis campus.
BTU General Manager Gary Miller says House Bill 3070, introduced by Representative Kyle Cassell, would bring more electric capacity to the growing Rellis campus. A Bryan woman's 16th visit to the Brazos County Jail follows her arrest by Bryan police on using a stolen debit card to make 4 purchases. Online records show 30-year-old Sherelle Davis is also being held on a drug possession charge from last year. College Station police respond Wednesday morning just after 11 to the report of a man on top of a postal service truck in the Castle Rock neighborhood off Fitch near Arrington. According to the CSPD arrest report, the man ordered the postal worker to run him over. The man told the responding officer that he had ingested methamphetamine and marijuana. The officer then learned about a vehicle burglary in the same neighborhood and watched video taken by a witness that showed the man entering the vehicle and putting on sunglasses that were stolen. That led to the arrest of 42-year-old William Tisdale of Iola. For more news, go to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
It's back and better than ever. Chili Fest 2023, presented by Miller Lite, is headed to Snook, Texas, March 31st and April 1st for 2 days of live music and the kind of fun you can only have in Aggieland. This year with Saturday performances by The Weathered Souls, Jacob Stelly, Colton Moore and The Clever Few, Shane Smith and The Saints, and headliner Whiskey Myers. Friday performances by Tyler Halverson, Carson Jeffrey, Giovanni and the Hired Guns, Muscadine Bloodline, and headliner Jamie Johnson. Get your tickets online now at chilifest.org. Plus camping, team information, and more. ChiliFest 2023, presented by Miller Lite. Miller Brewing Company. Great beer, great responsibility. 21 means 21.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Sean Burnett with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This update is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click hillcosupply.com. The A&M men's basketball season has come to an end. Playing in its first NCAA tournament since 2018, the team fell to Penn State last night in the first round, 76-59. Head coach Buzz Williams after the game.
I think we were completely stressed out in what they were doing offensively. We were not sharp. We were not sharp in our help on 22, nor our coverage on the weak side.
The guys wrapped up the season with a 25-10 record overall, 15-3 and second place finish in the SEC, and a runner-up finish in the SEC tournament. Aggie baseball will begin conference play this weekend with number 1 LSU coming to town. The guys bring an 8-game win streak into SEC play. The guys will stick with the same 3 starters, Nathan Detmer tonight, Troy Wansing tomorrow, and Chris Cortez on Sunday. First pitch versus LSU tonight is at 6 o'clock, and you can listen on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Aggie softball welcomes number 17 Georgia to town this weekend for a 3-game series. Game 1 kicks off tonight at 5 o'clock. You can listen to Aggie softball all season long on Gospel 97.3. Number 2, Texas A&M women's tennis hosts a pair of matches this weekend. Number 38 LSU will be in town today, and number 13 Miami on Sunday. And that's your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Sean Burnett.
You can hear the games of March on The Zone thanks to Westwood One Sports and Aggieland Green, Hungry Howie's, and Brazos Star Credit Union. From the opening round to the Final Four and the National Championship games, all of the NCAA tournament games, all weekend long, can be heard on The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, thanks to C&J Barbecue, Smokin' Aces competition team, and Gold Star Barber Studios on Longmire Drive.
Doesn't it feel like baseball season now? Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in our Rollo Insurance Studio at the Holiday Inn in Des Moines, Iowa. Hello, everybody. Let's bring on our baseball bunch crew. The order seems a little mixed up. You've got Bronny in the captain's chair. You got Scott Clendenin and Richard Zane shaking his head at me. I see it all with the green. What?
I'm not shaking my head at you, David.
Uh-huh.
No.
Well, we have to set this thing up because of y'all shoddy Wi-Fi and that second-rate motel y'all are in Des Moines.
So you're taking a shot at management who put us here?
Yeah. Actually.
Always.
Is that a shot? Are you meaning a shot at Billy?
No. Billy, I'm sure, wanted us to stay in the Ritz-Carlton if they have one here.
Well, it's okay. So we do have it set up, though, David. So if your Wi-Fi cuts out, we can handle the baseball bunch segment for the next couple of segments.
Well, let me at least get you guys started, because it's finally here, SEC play. LSU is exactly what we thought there would be. A&M, I don't know. They haven't been bad. They've been really good recently, right? I don't know if they are what we expect them to be just yet, but I think they're trending in that direction. So you guys just take it from there. Help set up this series for where both programs are.
Go ahead, Scotty.
Well, Bronny and I were just talking off the air that, the last couple of years we thought that LSU was overrated in a position where they were not going to be as good as what the prognostications of first week of conference play were going to be. I don't think that's the case this year. I think that they have played a schedule that has certainly contributed to the start they have had statistically and how they have stayed at number 1. But that is not to take away from the fact that this team is built to go win a national champion. They are very similar to Tennessee. We'll see if they're better than Tennessee this year. I still like the fact that the 3 guys Tennessee runs out on the weekend can match up with anybody, and we'll see them next weekend.
So can LSU's.
Yeah, so can LSU's. But
what A&M has to do this weekend is play better than them in each game and be a team that puts pressure on them, because what they have done the last 2 weeks is amazing, and they have felt no pressure whatsoever in any ball game since they lost to Iowa.
I would think that if you're looking for a potential competitive advantage for A&M this weekend, that would be where it lies in the fact that A&M has been tested so far this year, and LSU, for the very large percentage of the early season, has absolutely rolled everybody. So can you get them into a fist fight and into a dog fight? Do they know how to play in those type of games? Jace Lavalette sitting here yesterday for an NIL interview that I think is going out when, Richard?
Sometime this morning.
He talks about how he thinks that the biggest moment of the year so far for this A&M team was that Texas Tech 16-inning affair at Minute Maid, where the Aggies really had Austin Boast out of the lineup for 3 at-bats. You had the emergence of Evan Oschenbeck, and Justin Lampkin closed the door, and you got great pitching performances. The offense goes dormant for 8 innings in that game, and they still win it. He thought that was a huge turning point for them in understanding who they were as a team and how to handle adversity. So, like Jim Schlossnagle has said all week, you don't have to be the best team. You have to be the team that plays the best. This LSU team is as complete of a college baseball team as you'll ever find in terms of professional talent at every level. Nick, can you pop those stats up again for the preview series stats? I mean, a team OPS of over 1,000, almost 1,100 is an OPS. A team ERA that's sub 2.3. A team WHIP that is sub 1. That's what LSU's done so far this year. So all the talent is matching the metrics.
Yeah.
Right? Or the metrics are matching the talent. They've got the number 1 overall pick, most likely in Dylan Cruz in center field. Paul Skeens might be the first right-handed pitcher drafted in this upcoming draft. Thatcher Hurd will be a high draft pick when his time comes. He's going to be their Sunday starter. You're looking at
Chase Shores isn't starting this weekend?
Yes. Trey Morgan, Gavin Dugas, Braden Jobert. Like, these guys, they're loaded offensively. Tommy White. Look, A&M is going – it's going to take – not just A&M. It's going to take any team that's planning to knock off them in a series. You're going to have to play a really good brand of baseball. You're not going to be able to make mistakes on the mound because they're going to punish you. And you're going to have to put them in uncomfortable situations defensively, because even though they're fielding much better than they have in the past, if there is one little place I think that you can nitpick, I think it's defensively. They're not as clean as maybe you would think. Well, I wouldn't even say that they weren't as clean as like the Tennessee team last year. I think that's, though, if there's one area of weakness, maybe it might be on the dirt defensively.
Because they hadn't played with any pressure. How you field and how in a close game in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. And Minute Maid, you could have lost all those because you were the visiting team in there, and you played with that pressure on you for all those extra innings. And I don't think that's something LSU has had to be this year.
No, I just looked at their schedule. Series against Western, midweek against Southern.
That's Western Michigan.
Yes, Western Michigan. Sorry, Western Michigan. Sorry.
We're not on Detroit.
My bad.
Western.
Yeah, the
people here probably thinking Texas Western.
From Kalamazoo, home of Derek Jeter. A Round Rock Classic with Kansas State. The only loss on their season is to Iowa. Sam Houston at Texas. Butler, Central Connecticut State, Butler, Lamar, and a series with Samford and New Orleans.
So they haven't been tested for the most part. Iowa's pretty good. Texas is pretty good. Iowa gave them the loss. Texas, I think, a 3-run homer in the top of the 9th.
Yes.
Yep.
Won the game for LSU in that one. So, look, they're not invincible, but they are extremely, extremely good. This is going to be a monumental challenge for this team this weekend. I do think when you're playing this version of LSU this year, the weather helps A&M this weekend. I think
the way the ball has jumped off the bat for them this year, it helps A&M.
Pretty much anything that's less than a perfect weather condition should help the Aggies, right? Should bring that gap a little closer.
Well, I do think too that A&M has played, and this was certainly true. I think I feel like I sat at this table and said the same thing through the first month last year. But I feel like they've played a lot of north wind games early in the season at Olsen Field.
Mm-hmm.
And so A&M has had to hit in that environment. And I don't know that there's a ballpark that I've ever been to in the country that swing so wildly one way or the other based on the direction of the wind?
Probably because it never blows in Lubbock.
Well,
it's always blowing out in Lubbock. So, but you're talking about how it does change.
Yes.
And especially when it's cold and your hands and everything you have to do with a bat to do that. So yeah, that's going to be a big change. But
makes it a lot less fun to face 98 to 101.
After watching and not saying, the Florida game last night, okay, because they completely dominated, but to see Vandy, who wasn't hitting their way out of a paper sack in the early going this year, to beat Ole Miss, it's how you play that day. To run rule Ole Miss, it's how you play. What you do at the beginning of the game in the early part of the game determines, hey, those guys over there are good. And here we are, just like we were in the College World Series last year. We're playing our baseball against a team that can go win a national championship. A&M saw that a significant part of the year last year and passed all those tests.
Well, by the way, A&M, when you're talking about teams in college baseball that can win a national championship, Texas A&M is still in that conversation. That's what they've got on the roster. That's what they've brought in recruiting and in the portal. The Texas A&M roster can still win a national championship. They may not have come closer to their ceiling than LSU has up to this point. I think LSU has played closer to their ceiling or what people expected them to be than A&M has. But that's not a commentary on the remainder of the season for A&M at all. We didn't know when it was going to change last year. It all happened en route to Baton Rouge probably. Yeah. That's when the whole thing changed, right?
Oh, yes.
So could this be the spark, or did we see it? Did we see the ship start to get point in the right direction that late Sunday night at Minute Maid against Texas Tech? And from there, they've started rolling. We don't know yet. The season will tell us.
So, I mean, I think you bring up a great point. Last year, they lost that midweek right before SEC play to Houston at home. And then they go to Baton Rouge. Some fan in the parking lot tells Jim Schlossnagle that he's number one in a very rude way. And then they win that series. They finally get some confidence rolling. This year, I'll even take it one game further, that Rice game at Minute Maid. They run rule?
Yes.
Yeah, they run rule them 7 innings. Offense feels good. Then they come back the next night, win 16 innings. They've now won 8 straight. And I think Coach Schlossnagle said it great yesterday on the radio show. He described his team as a work in progress. They have more talent on their team this year than they did last year. We're just waiting for it to click. Could it click this weekend against the top-ranked team in the country? Absolutely.
Well, you have more talent and less experience now. When you look at, I don't think we're going to see Trevor Warner this year. This week. That was almost back that up. I don't think we're going to see Trevor Warner this week. Based off the way it was conveyed to the media with Schloss and then what Trevor said in his NIL interview, sounds like he hasn't put a ton of pressure on that hamstring in terms of full speed running, full speed swinging, ground balls, all that stuff. But that was 48 hours ago. He may have passed some tests since then where they feel comfortable letting him play. I'd lean toward him not playing this weekend, but we'll see, obviously, with tonight's starting lineup. But when you remove him and you remove Brett Minnick from this year's squad, all of a sudden it goes from returning starting lineup with hundreds and hundreds of college at-bats to a lineup that's, hey, half the guys have been around, the other half are brand new. And luckily, you've been able to get some seasoning on these brand new guys. You never want to say that Brett Minnick's injury was a blessing, because I think he was poised for a monster season, a monster lead up to the season. He was outstanding in the preseason practices, and I think he was ready to take off offensively. But it has allowed you to get Cason Wells in the batter's box, and a lot of it bats for Caden Kent and Jace Lavalette. So
if those injuries had happened Tuesday, a completely different outlook on this weekend. If they had all their at-bats through Tuesday, completely different outlook on taking Minnick out of your lineup and taking Trevor Werner out of your lineup when you're playing LSU.
I agree.
That's a great point, Scott.
Yep. We need to go to break, David?
Yeah, we could hit a break here. Let's do that. Let's hit a break. We'll come back, and there's some news that Kendall broke earlier in the week on SEC play. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on that when we come back, plus setting up the scene a little bit more tonight against LSU. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Chevrolet.com. Those of you who have done business with Zach Hester and his crew over there, you know it's first class. The whole thing is first class, from your searching process to the customer service during and after. That's what they do. They take great care of the people in the Brazos Valley. They have a heart of gold, and they want to make sure that when you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet, that you have the best possible experience out there. And it's multiple things, right? Like, you want to make sure you get the best price on a vehicle, so you can start your search at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. You want to make sure that the salesperson is not giving you the runaround and just trying to get you in a vehicle because he wants you to hit a certain price point. No, that's not what they do there. They take amazing care of you because they want you to find the right vehicle for your family and your needs, and at the right price point. And they have great trade-in value as well. It's just a great place to go. Complimentary pickup for service customers as well. It is Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. It's about a 15 to 20-minute drive there, Brian, at Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the fellows there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. First Presbyterian Bryan is hosting the world-renowned Baylor A Cappella Choir for a free concert this Sunday at 3 p.m. The Brethren Church of Bryan College Station invites you to the 3rd annual 42 Dominoes Tournament and Raffle Fundraiser, Saturday, April 29th. Sign-up starts at 8 a.m. The tournament starts at 10. Register now for the Bike MS Texas MS 150. Cyclists will depart from Houston or Austin on April 29th and cross the finish line in College Station on April 30th. Find more information at bikems.org. The Mental Health First Aid Program teaches participants how to recognize the signs and symptoms of a possible mental health challenge or substance misuse, de-escalate situations, listen non-judgmentally, and connect people to resources. This free course is offered each month at the Brazos County Health District. Listen in to the Louis Bellina Show weekdays 11 to 2 to win your tickets to see Bill Burr at Reed Arena. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
To succeed in sports, athletes must do the little things to get better every day. The same applies in business. Howdy, I'm Stephanie Gomez, Treasury Management Officer from Veribank. We understand the impact of mastering the little things. We pay attention to detail to find the right product or service for your business, like tech tools to manage your cash and payments or financing options for expansion. At Veribank, we believe in better business banking every day. Visit us at veribank.com today. That's VERAbank.com.
Veribank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Kelly Burt Dozer has been clearing the path for progress for over 35 years. So before construction ever starts on any new home or business, your first thought and your first phone call should be Kelly Burt Dozer. Since 1978, Kelly Burt Dozer has handled hundreds of jobs throughout the Brazos Valley. They know the obstacles you must overcome to successfully excavate and fully prepare this terrain with efficient solutions to ensure a job well done, no matter your time frame or budget. That's Kelly Burt Dozer. Call 778-1902 or click kellyburtdozer.com.
If you own construction equipment, you need preventative maintenance, and WPI has you covered with their new on-site service tech. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI has the hoses, filters, and fluids and parts needed to keep your equipment running at maximum performance. For the best price in town on preventative maintenance on every brand of construction equipment, call Jesse James at WPI in Bryan. Highway 21 East at Marina Road. Click WPI.com.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Hey, Paul, you're just up the road about a couple hours. I should grab Kenny Payne and come down and visit. He's got nothing to do now.
Yeah, by the way, I am close to Louisville. I've already been offered that job because anyone can win 4 games. That's still hard for me to believe.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fund Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
You know, well, I'm a chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night. A pair of jeans that fit just right.
All right, we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. The baseball bunch back in studio. Zane, Clendenin, and Bronny. Guys, I just want to ask you, before we get back into Aggie baseball talk, about that report from Kendall that it looks like the SEC is going to be moving towards those permanent opponents. Have you guys given any thought to it?
Yeah, so the day that you left to go to Iowa, me and Nick actually, that was the day that it broke. Me and Nick actually talked about that. in one of our segments. And I just, you can see it coming from a million miles away that if that holds true and those sources are right, Texas A&M's permanent rivals in this new formed SEC are going to be LSU and Texas.
That was my initial thought as well. That'd be pretty fun.
It'd be a lot of fun, and it'd be the two of the most storied programs in college baseball as your permanent rivals. But I also think that we're in a new era of Texas A&M baseball.
Right.
Yes.
And Vandy in Tennessee and Vandy in Florida and all that, it plays well. Because the other end is in a 4-year period, you've seen everybody. You've gone to every place. And I know they've learned to stay away from the Georgia had never been to Kyle Field situation. And you know, I like the fact that there is that you can, if you're a 4-year player, which most are not, but if you're a 4-year guy, you're going to go to everywhere in the SEC. I like not just the fact that you get the 2 games, but that there is balance. Because let's face it, this league ain't going to get any worse with Oklahoma and Texas coming in.
Right.
No.
So you're going to have to.
It's going to be tough for the Sooners.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for the Sooners.
Historic year last year, but
Missouri and who for the Sooners?
Arkansas,
Texas, yeah.
So yes, it is going to be tough. You're in high cotton. I mean, if anybody, and I asked Coach about this because I've been following this a long time and following sports across the board a long time. And I've never seen 6 of the top 7 teams in any poll ever be from the same conference in anything.
Well, I think that's a good lead into what A&M's facing this weekend and beyond, too, because what does success look like? To me, it isn't about – I think you can overanalyze this in terms of wins and losses if it's anywhere from the 3-6 to 6-3 range. Obviously, 3-6, you're worried. 6-3, you're doing cartwheels. But you can also look at style of play, and you can play extremely well in all 9 of these upcoming conference games and lose all 9 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of teams you're playing against. Every one of these teams that you're going to play, really every one of these teams that you're going to play over the next almost month, when you look at the midweeks, I wouldn't call Rice or Texas State a Omaha caliber teams, although Texas State's really, really, really good.
Well, also, we saw it with Houston on Tuesday. Those are teams that are probably going to throw their best arms at you because they need wins.
And I know Texas looks like they may have taken a step back this year, but they're still good enough to get to Omaha. Texas State probably is too. So you can really go out of your mind by looking at just results, but at the same time, so this is where it's tricky. So if you look at just results, you're going to go, if A&M goes, let's say they play, 12 games between those 3 conference weekends and then the 3 midweeks. If you go 6-6 over those 12 games, there's going to be a lot of Aggie fans pulling their hair out. But it ain't a beauty contest. And if you can pull wins however you can from those 12 games, it doesn't matter. So you got to look at all of that. Like, if you don't play well but win the game, who cares?
Right.
If you play extremely well and lose the game, kind of who cares?
Yeah, because
it's weird. It's a weird kind of run here.
It is, and I know that we look at Mississippi being the last team to get in and all that stuff that was said, but we said here last year when A&M was going there, and they had won like 8 of 9. They had that incredibly tough schedule at the beginning. They lost their momentum and everything like that, and they righted themselves. And then A&M, won 2 out of 3 and really dominated them in the 2 wins. And then they went out the first round of the SEC tournament. So you looked at all that and you're like, okay, was that they played the easier teams? Because last year, the end of the schedule, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, all of that was at any point in time, the 30 games you're going to get 3 weekends in a row, whoever you are, that you sit there and say, how do we come out of that 3, 4, 6, 5 wins? How does that you still have to compartmentalize that and not let that jump on your back and weigh you down to where 3 weekends turns into 5 weekends, turns into a 7-weekend stretch where you're just like, we never got a chance to come up for air.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to add. I think it's just playing in this league. You're trying to survive each game and each weekend, and it's really hard to sweep a team in this league, but it's much easier to get swept. So you have to do your hardest, damnedest, not to get swept.
You obviously, Coach Schlossnagle talks a lot about don't play to the scoreboard, play to a standard. In this little 10, 12 game stretch upcoming here, I think whatever win you can scrap out of those, no matter how you play, you take it and you don't look back. And that's with any SEC conference series. But specifically for this next month, I'm sitting here when y'all are talking and trying to go over the mental hurdles of if I were a coach, how would I be looking at this stretch and wanting to portray my feelings to the team and, what's more important, how we play or winning games. That's a really tough – that's why he's getting paid. That's why he's one of the most successful coaches in college baseball, because he's really good at this stuff. Like, how do you navigate this, looking at we need to win games, but we also need to play to a standard?
I think that's part of where his comments that he said last year, and he said it already this year, with the people that he knew in the league and the ones that he talked to, get to 15. Get to 15.
Yeah. You play 500 ball in this league, you can host a regional.
Yeah.
Playing 500 ball.
Especially when it might be an even historically good year. Because I don't think that people out there realize what the portal is doing as far as input of talent into this league. Okay, you have people that are very good players. Heard at UCLA is leaving them to come to the SEC. A team that can go to the College World Series out of the West Coast, especially with him pitching for UCLA, 5 times out of 10. Mm-hmm. UCLA can go to the World Series coming into this league. We're not talking about Skeens leaving Air Force, where even though they made a run into the NCAA tournament, they had very little chance to advance past that. You're having guys at places come to the SEC because this is where they want to be, and the level is ratcheting up as this is going on.
Look, you're only furthering my point to our high school baseball players at 12 and high school baseball players across the state that may be listening to this. You have no idea how hard college baseball is, especially in this new landscape and environment. Like, you think because you're good in high school, you're going to go in and be good at whatever school you go into. Because here's what the situation, the scenario you just explained, Scotty, is now there's also the kids that come to A&M, Texas, LSU, Arkansas out of high school that don't pan out, or they get their spots taken, or they're over-recruited by a transfer portal guy that the program needs to come in and help them now. They're unhappy, so where are they going? They're
going to mid-major. And those mid-major kids that are at the bottom of their ladders are going down a level. It is, yeah. And because
it's
the draft
super saturated,
and because the draft is shorter, and because every team in Major League Baseball lost a low A level team, okay, baseball is getting better, and I love that college baseball is getting better because of this. But it's also getting harder.
It's getting much harder, and recruiting right now is. I don't know how guys like. And Nolan Cain has been fantastic at adapting to the new age of recruiting. He is one of the best in the business, bar none. But it's forcing a lot of people across the country to kind of reevaluate how they want to do their recruiting.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're at a program, let's say like Baylor, and you're in year one and you're struggling under a new head coach and a guy that's been really familiar with Waco and that Baylor baseball program, like the temptation is probably to go reestablish Baylor baseball's roots in the state of Texas at the high school level, but I could go to the portal and get everybody I need next year to make a bigger impact. So, yeah, it's tough. This new age of recruiting is tough.
And I've been a long-time junior college coach with Mitch Thompson, who had tremendous success doing it, and kids aren't going to junior college right now.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy. Nuño?
Ronnie, Glendenon, and Zane, or I can do first names too. Thank you so much, guys.
Wow,
Appreciate
you're so talented. Can you do them in Spanish as well?
Yeah. Ryan, Ricardo, y Scott.
Gracias, amigo.
I don't know why I had a Russian accent there. That was not good, but it's okay.
Buena suerte, mi amigo.
Gracias, amigos. Hablamos pronto, okay? Nos vemos. Un abrazo. Ciao. All right, right now we're talking about Heritage Films. They can do it in Spanish, by the way. Legit had a conversation with Chance. He's like, hey, man, will you help me with this interview in Spanish? Absolutely, bro, I got you. And I actually used the word bro, and he was like, hermano. And was like, yeah, we're on the same page. Heritage Films makes documentaries about families. They make documentaries about people important in your life. They do it about your family legacy and your family name. That's what Chance does with Heritage Films. He's been doing it for a few years now, and he really gets so much satisfaction at helping people tell their story. And remember, that story is not just for right now. That story is for the next generation and the generation after that. So when we did my father's story, yeah, I got a lot out of it. My dad got a lot out of it, but also my kids got out of it, and then a lot out of it. And then their kids are going to be able to see, oh, that was my great grandfather. That is awesome. Like, I got to hear him talk, and I got to see the whole way our family got together. It's just one of the cool things that Chance does there with Heritage Films. The website to get a documentary done about your family is yourheritagefilm.com, or you can call them up at 713-893-8341. It takes about 8 to 10 weeks to get done. This is Hollywood production style documentary. You don't want to miss out on the opportunity to get this story done. The website, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
We are going. Are you ready? The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. High performance guaranteed. Guaranteed.
It's time. Oh, here we go!
Let's go!
Question. Would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The winter blues are almost behind us, and we can't wait to get out of the house and be more active. That sounds great, but your achy joints don't agree. Well, it's time to do something about it. Hey, everyone, David Nuño here. Stop with the steroids. Stop with the possible surgery chatter. Now there's a better way to get lasting relief. It's QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. This exciting approach uses healing properties from your own body, highly concentrated, then placed directly into your achy joint. It can restore and repair that damaged tissue and get you moving again without pain. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain. The patient satisfaction reports are incredible, and there's no downtime. Listen, the old ways of dealing with joint pain are no longer the only ways. If they're telling you need surgery, do yourself a favor and call QC Kinetics. Learn more about this widely popular, all-natural alternative way to get lasting pain relief. No surgery, no drugs. Even ask about using your HSA and FSA fund. The call is free. The consultation is free. You have nothing to lose. Call QC Kinetics now. The timing is perfect so you can enjoy the best time of year coming up. Call 979-452-6000. QC Kinetics, 979-452-6000. That's 979-452-6000.
The George Bush Presidential Library and Museum is excited to welcome all visitors to tour the museum. Visit Mandela, the official exhibition that explores the life of one of the world's most famous freedom fighters and political leaders. Building Bridges, George Bush and the End of Apartheid explores U.S. diplomatic efforts during the final years of the apartheid regime. Looking Back, a George H.W. Bush Presidential Library and Museum retrospective from exhibits over the past 25 years. For more information, visit bush41.org.
At ASCO, we're on it, and Case IH Farmall tractors are on it too. For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the little red tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, you can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and baling, and then some. Visit ASCO Equipment in Bryan to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you. At ASCO, we're on it.
Every Friday, noon till 1, we go inside the pit on the Louis Bellina Show with barbecue pit master, the Smokin' Aces competition team, Bryce Jones. Inside the Pit, brought to you by Dixie Tire Company. Family owned, serving the BCS for over 35 years. You need tires for your truck, car, tractor, trailer, lawnmower, even your wheelbarrow. It's Dixie Tire Company. Join me, Louis Bellina, and Bryce Jones inside the pit Fridays, noon till 1.
Look, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment that you captured, just let it slip. Yo, his palms are sweaty. Knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the right song for right now. I mean, it's a jam, and Logan knows the words, but, you know, they weren't ready. So it is what it is.
Penn State was ready.
Penn State, they were playing this in the locker room. That's probably why. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. A little basketball talk after a nice half hour on baseball with Logan Lee, our basketball analyst. Hello, Lolo.
What's happening?
Yesterday was not fun. Not fun.
I share the same sentiments.
Yeah, it's your mic was off. That was
I was about to say I can hear myself now. What'd you do?
Oh, I think I turned off your mic when it was OB. I had enough of OB, and I was like,
you
enough.
muted him?
I was like, enough. And then Hop, enough. And then Bronny, enough. You'll get the same treatment too here soon enough. So we sat by each other yesterday. You called. I hope I can say this. You called what was happening. You were like, they've been told to shoot threes, because it looked like at that point they were like, we have to shoot threes to get back in this game because we're not finding other ways to get back into this game.
That's what it looked like. I at one point I remember
Anderson Garcia play.
Anderson Garcia, where he got 3 offensive rebounds. He was open every single time. He didn't put it back up. He kicked it out for another 3. And then after the third one, he grabbed the rebound, he kicked it out, and he told his guys, he said, keep shooting. I got this. I'm like, no, don't keep shooting.
No.
Andy, put it up, score a bucket.
So look, it didn't, whatever they did last night didn't work. Obviously. And I'm not saying that I know what works. But in my mind, the entire time I'm thinking to myself, chip away at the lead. And like, to me, basketball, if you're down 16, it sounds like a lot. It's not insurmountable. You get 3 stops, you're right back in the game.
Yeah.
If you can score.
If you can score.
Right. And they couldn't. But to me, like, you go to Julius Marble, you go in the paint, and if they switch it up, you find wherever your mismatch is. But the mismatch was for A&M shooting threes. That was a mismatch for their offense, because that's not who they are.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't go to Julius Marble. He was on the bench.
Oh.
They A&M played small ball and got beat at it. And it's the first game that I felt like A&M has played their opponent's style of basketball. They didn't impose their will, and part of it was because they couldn't impose their will. Jalen Pickett is a first-team All-American for a reason. He's been doing this all year long. Last night he had 17 points, 8 assists, 0 turnovers, 7 rebounds, I think a steal or 2. I mean,
and he
played 40 minutes.
He was impressive, but not in the, like, you watch him like, oh my gosh, that guy jumps out of the gym. It was more like, kind of, you know what? Maybe this is terrible. This just hit me right now. Kind of towards the end of Jason Kidd's career, where he was just going to post you down, find the open guy, hit him, and then if you made a mistake, he'd make you pay by a quick spin move, drive. It kind of reminded me of late Jason Kidd a little, and he's not necessarily the same kind of player, but though his decision making.
I completely agree with that. It was he plays slow, he plays methodical, he plays very strong. You can't take the ball away from him because he uses his body so well, and he's a bigger guard. He's not 6'7". He's I know
he's listed at that. He's not.
He is not 6'7". But where he plays slow, he thinks fast. Every time A&M tried to double team him, he saw it coming and he made a quick decision. And his decision making was so quick that A&M's defensive rotation couldn't keep up. And that's why you saw the open threes. I'm going to tell you this right now. Funk is not that good. He is a great shooter. I'll give you that. He is a great shooter.
But that's all he needs to be.
He is not that good. Pickett makes him that good.
So together,
because of everything that Pickett did in here, and I think Buzz kind of hinted at it in the post-game presser, they couldn't get Pickett out of the middle of the court. And that's where A&M's defense struggles. If you get the ball to one side or the other, they can all of the defensive rotation knows where to go. If the ball is in the middle of the court, who has help side? Strong side, weak side? There is no strong side, weak side. So who has help side, left or right? They all have to take a step in. They all have to be able to react. And so if he's just on the left side, everybody on the weak side, on the right side, knows, okay, I'm midline,
Right.
or I'm this position. But when he stays in the middle of the court, the defense doesn't know where to go.
Right.
Like, where do you go? And they couldn't get him out because he was so strong and so calm under pressure.
Right.
You know, the other thing was, and I don't know, we had this talk before the season. And I think we haven't had it since the non-conference play. But with A&M switching 5 on defense and Wade Taylor having to guard post players and do this and that, I don't know why teams throughout the season didn't always find Wade Taylor, whoever he was guarding, and have a screen and roll with a big guy every single time to get a mismatch in the post. And that's what Penn State did with Jalen Pickett. They didn't get the post player, but they got whoever. Jalen Pickett had the ball, and whoever Wade Taylor was guarding, that person set a screen, so Taylor would then have to guard Pickett. And then all he did was turn his back to him and back him down from the 3-point line.
Right.
And you know, unfortunately, Dexter Dennis even had trouble guarding Pickett. And Dexter is a legit 6'7", and he weighs 50 pounds more than Wade Taylor. And Tyrese Radford, he had trouble guarding Pickett because Pickett was so strong, or is so strong.
Yeah.
And they just didn't have an answer for that. I don't know why.
So is there anything they could have done? Like, because it feels like the way you're explaining it, like, look, Pickett's just smarter and better than everybody on A&M, at least last night. What could they have done to change up that game?
I mean, I think you throw what A&M calls black at him, and you trap the heck out of him, get the ball out of his hands, and then face guard him, deny him.
So why do you think they didn't? Because, again, to me, I asked you during the week leading up to the game, do everything you can to keep the ball out of his hands, right? But the ball kept on, like, he wasn't denied.
Yeah, I mean, I think he wasn't denied from 94 feet. And if you go back to the Alabama game, where A&M in the SEC tournament championship game, Alabama denied Wade Taylor 94 feet.
Yeah,
they didn't let him catch the ball, and if he did, they had a 6'7" guy guarding him that didn't allow him to shoot a three, that played off him just enough to where he couldn't utilize his quickness. This is where I think the way that you combat this was with size, because obviously Julius Marble scored 6 points in the first 3 minutes of the game and kept A&M alive before the first media timeout. And you use your size, but that's where a point guard comes in.
No.
Wade Taylor is a great scoring guard. He's a great scoring guard.
He's not a point guard.
Not right,
in the traditional sense.
Not right now.
Right.
You know, and like we talked about yesterday, he could grow into that role because his growth this year has been astronomical. I mean, before conference play started, I was not impressed with his decision making.
And as conference play went on, he got better.
He's gotten a ton better.
So, last thing before we hit a break. When a game plan isn't working, and I know there's not like one size fits all, at what point do you abandon and, like, do you have enough time in a timeout? Like, hey, everything we talked about pregame in the trash. Let's try this. Like, is that something that can happen? I know it can happen at half, right? But can it happen mid-half?
I don't know.
Or do you come in with multiple game plans? If they're effective doing this, let's try this. Or is it, no, we're going to do this?
It's tough for a coach to implement something on the go without ever working on it. And so if they haven't worked on anything different than what they were doing last night, it's hard for a coach to say, hey guys, I know we haven't worked on this, but I want you to go execute it against this team that is extremely hot, that has been dominating you. So let's go change it up and work on something you've never done before.
But it's basketball. You have worked on it, just not with that. I'm just saying, when you're down 20.
I mean, when you're down 20, try it. Why not?
Yeah.
What's
well, and you know what? Maybe they did try it. They tried shooting a lot more threes because I thought they shot a lot in the first half,
and
then they tripled it in the second half.
Yeah, they shot a ton. It was a little insane, but
yeah, all right.
You know, they had to catch up. That's how they felt. They felt as if the 3-point shot was the only way to get them back in the game.
I feel like you've only been here for a little bit, but like the whole morning has been sour. But this team gave me a lot of love this year. Like this team gave me a lot of joy, I should say. Like they were they won more often than they lost. They won a lot of games this year. And they ran into a team that executed their game plan to perfection.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Reed Arena. When's the last time Reed Arena has had 12,000 plus for 6 games in a row? I mean, I think you have to go back to
your days.
To 2006, 2007.
Yeah. Let's hit a break. We'll come back. We got around Aggieland, more with Logan Lee. We'll have Mark French at the top of the hour. Right now, talking Brazos Running Company. So here in Des Moines, there's a lot of walking that happens, right? Logan will tell you there's some tunnels, and it's, if you walk outside, your face will freeze off. It's just kind of like, reminds me of Star Wars when Luke and, they had to cut the camel in half and they had to sleep, whatever. You get what I'm saying? It's really cold out here. It's like, what did you say it was, 7 degrees? With the wind chill factor?
4 degrees.
4 degrees with the wind chill factor. And there was a snowstorm yesterday. And this has nothing to do with shoes. But if you're walking a lot, or if you're running a lot, you need the right shoes. See, that's how I connected the two thoughts. And that's what they'll do at I know. I stretch it sometimes. At Brazos Running Company, they're going to put you in the right shoe because it is, if you love fitness, if you love running, if you love walking, the right shoe makes a huge difference. You can, you need to replace those shoes every so often, 300 to 400 miles, they say. And they've got all the best brands out there, from On to Hoka. They've got Brooks. They've got, you name it, New Balance. And if you're a runner or walker interested in fitness, you got to go to Brazos Running Company. They're passionate about running and finding the right shoe for you. They've got that new location that's got more space, more brands. They've got Birkenstock, they got Vuori, you name it. Remember Brazos Running Company for your specialty needs out there. Brazos Running Company, now located in Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill in College Station. It's Brazos Running Company.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Paisano's Italian Pizzeria. Go see them at their new location on Highway 6 in Rock Prairie by Scott and White. Always fresh, never frozen. Paisano's Italian Pizzeria. The 29th annual You're the Tops Luncheon, benefiting the Prenatal Clinic, is Saturday, April 22nd at the Hilton. Purchase your tickets online at bcsprenatal.org. Now open at the Bush Library, Mandela, the official exhibition. The epic story of Nelson Mandela is told in a series of experiential galleries. You're invited to the opening ceremony of the Wall That Heals traveling exhibit, Thursday, April 27th at 11 a.m. at Veterans Park. Visit twthaggieland.com for more information. The Museum of the American GI is hosting the U.S. Army Animal Experiment on April 28th and 29th. Space is limited. Reserve your place today at AmericanGIMuseum.org. Community Calendar is brought to you by Paisano's Italian Pizzeria. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TRAVEL for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TRAVEL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TRAVEL for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
You can hear the games of March on the Zone thanks to Westwood One Sports and Aggieland Green, Hungry Howie's, and Brazos Star Credit Union. From the opening round to the Final Four and the national championship games, all of the NCAA tournament games, all weekend long, can be heard on The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, thanks to C&J Barbecue, Smokin' Aces competition team, and Gold Star Barber Studios on Longmire Drive.
My shoes, my toes are busted. My kitchen says my bread is molded. I got a good job at the dollar store. 1 foot in the hole, 1 foot getting deeper with a broken mirror and a blown out speaker. And I ain't got much else to lose. I'm faded, flat busted, been jaded, I've been dusted. I know that I've seen better days. 1 foot in the hole, 1 foot getting deeper. Crank it to 11, blow another speaker, and I ain't got much to lose. 'Cause I've seen better days. I'm the star of this place.
I've definitely seen better days. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour was a long time ago. Logan is here. I don't know why I called it the Go Hour, but Kay Nagley is in studio. You know why? Because it's around Aggieland. Presented by Norman G. State Bank. Norman G. State Bank, rock solid banking. The website, normangstatebank.com. And here's Kay Nagley.
How are y'all doing there up in Iowa?
You really asking?
I'm just...
Hey, that is the worst question you could start off with. That's the best you had to enter the show with.
That's what people say when they have nothing else to say. How you doing? Like you go to a funeral. How are you doing? I'm
It's
terrible.
just a generic question.
My uncle died. He has no legs.
I mean,
like you're sad.
A&M basketball died for a little while last night.
Oh, so.
No comment on that. Maybe
that
y'all
was
are in
him.
decent spirits this morning.
That wasn't me.
Y'all are in decent spirits. You're being positive in a negative situation, but Nuño's good at that. So,
Well,
just call me the Kool-Aid.
Sunshine pumper.
Yeah, apparently.
I have to be the positive one around here because a lot of negative people are in this office. So we gotta try. I had to try to up the spirits of the live thread last night, even though it was pretty much over at halftime, But I was just trying to be a little positive,
You gave up at halftime. How can you say you're being positive and you just gave up?
I didn't say I gave up at halftime. All the posters on the live thread gave up at halftime, and I was like, "Hey, let's calm down here for a second."
I have a question.
What is your
question? I don't partake in the live thread as much as I should because to me it seems like how often are people positive on any live thread?
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably.
I'm sure
things are going well.
Like chain scores and awesome touchdown. People are like, he's the greatest player ever.
Regular season playing Bama. That was a great live thread. Tennessee, that was a great. Some of them are fun and positive, and people can be nice on there, but not the other way around when we're losing first round of the NCAA tournament. So,
I mean, sitting next to half the A&M people in what is this called? What Wells Fargo Arena?
Wells Fargo, yeah.
There was not a ton of positivity.
Bye-bye, Fargo Arena, because I never want to come back to this. Actually, I will say this. The people are awesome.
What people?
There's 9 people that live here. Nobody lives here, it feels like, because the downtown is it's like in the 1930s, like a dead downtown, right?
Because it's 4 degrees and nobody wants to go outside, so you don't see anybody.
It was 57 degrees the second day we were here. It was great. Nobody's here. The food has been excellent, though. I would say, other than arena food, excellent.
I agree with that.
Those wraps that I had yesterday,
horrible,
horrendous. You're like, I didn't have dinner. I had the wraps. You did better than me. Yes, Kay. Sorry.
No, y'all are enjoying. I'm enjoying y'all's little food talk.
You know what? I will say this. I keep looking at you, and you're smiling a lot.
I'm just a smiley person. Have y'all not figured this out yet?
Not like today.
She's like, y'all are doing my job because now I don't have to talk about what's going on in Aggieland, which is nothing because it's spring break.
Actually, no, you're wrong. And this is where the segue happens. The biggest baseball series of the year about to begin later on today, Miss Nagley.
That was a great segue. So let's get to it. The number 15 baseball team will open the gauntlet of SEC play this weekend as they face the number 1 team in the country, LSU. Those games will start tonight at today is Friday, obviously, at Bluebell Park. Tonight's game will be at 6 p.m., tomorrow at 2 p.m., and then Sunday at 1 p.m. Tonight's game will be aired on SEC Network with Tom Hart and Chris Burke on the call, and then those games will be on SEC Network Plus the rest of the week. Softball actually has a huge home opening SEC series this weekend as number 17 Georgia will roll into town. Those games can be on SEC Network Plus as well. Men's golf claimed back-to-back titles at the Louisiana Classics, stretching its lead to 11 strokes in Tuesday's final action. And then women's tennis will host a pair of matches with number 38 LSU on Friday, and then number 13 Miami on Sunday. Men's tennis also swept a pair of matches with ACU and Tulsa this weekend, and then they will head to Fayetteville for a match with Arkansas on Saturday. So still some other sports going around. I know spring break was fun for the students here, but we're back and ready for some baseball.
Hey, thank you for your cheerful attitude. We appreciate you.
Of course, I gotta bring the spirits up.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you know what? I'm going to be positive the rest of the show. I'm going to be like Mr. Rogers.
I hope you are.
It's a beautiful day in a cold neighborhood.
I don't think you can.
Well, Mark French's going to be up next. He's a positive guy. We'll have Mark, we'll have Logan, myself, and then Billy to close up the show at TexAgs Radio.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman.
You like boiled hot dogs?
Why not just throw it on the frying pan or in a toaster oven or something even, you know?
You know the way boiled hot dogs look, though? All the grease or whatever it was.
Used to do weird stuff like
to
that.
the top.
Yeah.
My mom fed me boiled hot dogs and top ramen. I tell my mom, you should be thrown in jail for that. Come on, man.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Securing your Wi-Fi connections is an important element of protecting your personal data. For maximum security, your network should include only devices with the latest in security technology, properly locked down with Wi-Fi.